Welcome to Bible Verse Vision, the channel that brings the wisdom of the Bible into clear focus. Here, we embark on a journey, not just through the pages of an ancient book, but through the essence of life itself. The Bible, a timeless piece of literature, is imbued with wisdom, guidance, and lessons that are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Our mission at Bible Verse Vision is to illuminate these lessons, transforming them from cryptic verses into applicable wisdom. We aim to provide a clearer understanding of these verses, making them accessible and, more importantly, practical for your everyday life. Each episode will explore a different chapter, peeling back the layers of language, culture, and time to reveal the underlying message. Today we delve into Genesis chapter 3, a profound chapter filled with lessons for us all. So, get ready to see the Bible in a whole new light. Let's immerse ourselves in the words of Genesis chapter 3 as it is written in the Bible. In this significant passage, we meet a cunning serpent, the most subtle beast of the field that the Lord God had made. It's this serpent that tempts Eve to taste the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Eve, succumbing to the serpent's persuasion, not only tastes the fruit herself but also shares it with Adam. The consequences of this act are swift and heavy. Upon realizing their actions, Adam and Eve cover themselves with fig leaves, feeling the weight of their newfound knowledge. When God discovers what they've done, he doles out punishments. To the serpent, he promises enmity between the serpent's offspring and Eve's. To Eve, he foretells the pain of childbirth and a life of dependency on her husband. To Adam, he declares a life of toil and struggle, tilling the ground from which he was taken. And then God does something unexpected. He makes garments of skin for Adam and Eve, clothing them before sending them away from the Garden of Eden. He places cherubim and a flaming sword at the east of the garden, guarding the way to the tree of life. From the onset, this chapter presents a narrative full of intrigue, temptation, consequence, and grace. It's a story that sets the stage for the rest of the Bible, introducing themes of sin, judgment, and redemption that echo throughout the pages that follow. That was Genesis chapter 3, a chapter filled with profound lessons and timeless wisdom. It's a story that invites us to contemplate the nature of choice, consequence, and divine compassion. It's a story that, thousands of years later, still has much to say to us. As we delve deeper into its layers of meaning, we'll find insights that speak to our own experiences, our struggles, our triumphs, and our journey of faith. Now that we've heard the words as they were written, let's explore their deeper meanings. Genesis chapter 3 is a pivotal point in the Bible, where the blissful existence of the first humans, Adam and Eve, in the Garden of Eden comes to an abrupt end. In simpler terms, this chapter is about a choice made and the fallout from that decision. At the heart of this chapter is the story of temptation. The serpent, often interpreted as a symbol of evil or deception, tempts Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge, which God expressly forbade. Eve succumbs to this temptation, eats the fruit, and shares it with Adam. This act of disobedience is often referred to as the original sin. Following this, Adam and Eve become aware of their nakedness, signifying a loss of innocence and the birth of self-consciousness. They try to hide from God, but he, being omniscient, knows what they have done. This marks the first instance of humans trying to hide their actions from God, introducing the concept of guilt and shame. God then pronounces the consequences of their actions. For the serpent, it's eternal enmity with mankind. For Eve, it's pain in childbirth and a complicated relationship with her husband. For Adam, it's the hardship of labor, an eventual return to the dust from whence he came, symbolizing mortality. Yet, even in this moment of consequence, there is a glimmer of hope. God makes garments of skin for Adam and Eve, showing his continued care despite their disobedience. This is often seen as the first hint of God's plan for redemption. In essence, Genesis chapter 3 is a tale of temptation, consequence, and the hope of redemption. It's a story that sets the stage for the rest of the Bible, where humanity grapples with the repercussions of the original sin and God's plan for salvation unfolds. Beyond the story, Genesis chapter 3 imparts valuable lessons for us all. This ancient narrative is so much more than a tale of paradise lost. It's a profound exploration of human nature and morality. The chapter teaches us about the consequences of disobedience, symbolized by Adam and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden. The repercussions of their actions serve as a poignant reminder that every decision, every action, carries weight. However, Genesis chapter 3 also highlights the power of forgiveness. Despite their transgressions, God continued to care for Adam and Eve, providing for them even as they faced the results of their choices. This shows us that while we may stumble, while we may falter, there is always room for redemption, always an opportunity for grace. These lessons, while ancient, still hold significance in our lives today. They encourage us to think deeply about our actions, to understand their potential impact, and to seek forgiveness when we err. The wisdom of Genesis chapter 3 is not confined to the past, it is a guide for our everyday lives. Let's consider a few practical examples to illustrate this point. When we face a tough decision, remember Adam and Eve's encounter with the serpent. It teaches us the importance of discernment, of not being swayed by smooth talk or enticing offers that lead us away from what we know is right. Consider the consequence of their actions, the loss of paradise, the introduction of hardship and mortality. This underscores the gravity of our choices and their potential repercussions, encouraging us to think before we act. Finally, God's response to Adam and Eve's transgression, a mix of justice and mercy, is a reminder for us to exercise both in our dealings with others. It's a call to be fair, yet compassionate. As we close today, remember the wisdom of Genesis chapter 3, and may it guide your steps in wisdom and grace.